the first major arms delivery from the USA. Washington has made the decision Ukraine will receive weapons that had been kept under lock and key. Trump is giving it up with a heavy heart. We can no longer tolerate Putin's antics nor the threats from dictator Xi Jinping. The Ukrainian sky is now protected. Has the ice finally broken? What should we prepare for next? All this in the upcoming report, just moments away.
Putin is constantly throwing all sorts of nonsense at us. If you want to know the truth, he was always very polite, but as it turned out, that meant nothing.
It seems the ice has finally broken. For the first time since returning to the White House, Donald Trump has begun taking steps that could truly change the course of the war in Ukraine. And these steps are in Kyiv's favor.
We are not satisfied with Putin. I am not satisfied with Putin. I can tell you that absolutely for sure right now, because he is killing a lot of people, and many of them are his own soldiers, mostly his soldiers and their soldiers. Right now, the death toll is already up to 7,000 a week. I am not satisfied with Putin. Are there any more questions?
Yes, sir. You just said that you are dissatisfied with Vladimir Putin. Do you plan to take any action?
Don't we want to arrange a little surprise?
At the same time, the White House is considering options for aid to Ukraine. The top priority is protecting Ukrainian airspace. In particular, according to the Wall Street Journal, Trump is considering the possibility of providing Ukraine with an additional Patriot air defense system. This could become the first major arms delivery not tied to a decision by the Biden administration, and at the same time a signal that the US is back.
We are going to send more weapons. They must be able to defend themselves. Right now, they are being hit very hard. We will have to send more weapons. Yes, mostly of a defensive nature.
We have found ourselves in a certain spiral, and it is very important that it works for us, not against us. In the situation where Ukraine is now working diplomatically with the United States, it is very difficult to figure out whether this is in some sense a plus, in what sense it is a neutral pace, or in what sense it might even be harmful.
As we remember, Ukraine took a blow to the gut from the United States at the beginning of July. After that, the supply of weapons was partially suspended, from Patriot interceptor missiles to ammunition for F-16s. At that time, Trump claimed that Biden had supposedly depleted the country. But as things unfolded, it turned out that the decision to freeze supplies was a surprise even to his own circle. According to CNN, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth did not inform either Trump himself or his advisors about this. Special Representative for Ukraine Kellogg's Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio learned about the suspension of supplies from the news. The 47th president himself publicly stated that he is not responsible for this decision. But that's not all. The aggressor country may be facing a devastating blow. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham has initiated a new package of sanctions against Russia. In particular, the document provides for a 500% tariff on imports from countries that continue to buy Russian oil and raw materials.
I'm considering it. Yes, I'm considering it. The Senate has passed and continues to pass very tough sanctions. But yes, I'm considering it.
If we simply try to predict the situation, let's say the Graham bill is adopted, what will that mean? Where will Russia get the money? What will be cut? I would predict that, first of all, they will start cutting any expenses not related to the country's military-industrial complex. Again, that means healthcare, education, pensions, and so on. At the same time, they will try to maintain spending on the military-industrial complex. Their cuts will have to be made, perhaps not as significantly as one might wish, but cuts will be necessary. And I would assume that, for example, instead of the current $150 billion, if, say, this income is reduced by at least a quarter, it would mean that they will try to offset about 2/3 of the loss at the expense of the social sector, which will see a massive, dramatic decline. But 1/3 will still have to be shifted to the sector related to the military-industrial complex. And that means, at a minimum, a loss of about 15% out of those $150 billion.
At the same time, a scandalous audio recording from 2024 surfaced, published by CNN. In it, Trump tells donors how he threatened Putin and Xi Jinping with direct airstrikes in the event of attacks on Ukraine and Taiwan.
I told Putin, if you enter Ukraine, I will bomb Moscow to hell. I told him I won't have a choice, and he was like, I don't believe you. He said, no way. And I told him, oh yes, I will, but again, he didn't believe me. But the truth is, he did believe me, well, about 10%. I told you, he believed me, about 10%. Then I met with Xi from China and told him the same thing. If you attack Taiwan, I'll bomb Beijing to hell. He thought I was out of my mind and asked, Beijing? I replied, I have no choice, I'll have to bomb you. We'll bomb Beijing? He didn't believe it either. But about 10% of him did. And 10% is enough. Honestly, even 5% would be enough.
Is this part of a political game or a serious turn of events? For now, we can only hope that the US has truly come to its senses and does not intend to back down in the fight for justice. But only time will give the real answer. Meanwhile, Ukraine's fate and the security of the entire continent remain in the balance. And every next step Washington takes is of colossal importance.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
The proliferation of fiber-optic drones is weaving a web on the front lines, trying to lure our forces into a trap. Near Toretsk, they surge forward like a wave. Ukrainian defenders have crafted combat bursts that strike back at the enemy. The strikes are as precise as surgery. This tactic outsmarts the enemy and works flawlessly. What are these drones of modern warfare and what can they do? More on this in the following report. Right now.
Shattered houses and burnt-out cars. This is the road of death in the Sumy region. It was filmed by soldiers of the 67th Brigade while they were defending Kurkina.
For example, we knew that drones were targeting vehicles. There was a pile of burned-out cars, and as you drove past them, you thought that was them.
The Russians attacked with fiber-optic drones and within a month cut off our main logistics route, Yunakivka-Kasudja.
Before the appearance of fiber optics, we were stationed there for 4 or 5 kilometers, and that suited us. No one bothered us. Well, I mean, relatively speaking, no one bothered us. So only 3 of our positions were taken out by the fiber optics.
In the spring, the Russians began using similar drones to cut off the main routes in the Donetsk region. They targeted the road to Pokrovsk and made our logistics more difficult. Later, fiber optics started being detected 20 to 25 kilometers from the line of contact.
All the optics, well, yes, because it's effective. It's really effective. Look, what's the main thing in war for you? To cut off the enemy's logistics so that they can deliver ammo on time, or even just water for that matter. If the infantry doesn't eat or drink, well, then they won't fight.
Now, because of the abundance of fiber optics, Vadim's fighters who are holding the defense near Toretsk have to walk 10 to 15 kilometers to reach their positions. The occupiers don't even let them get as far as Kostiantynivka. And now, it's not artillery that's destroying the city, but fiber-optic drones.
In fact, here's the fiber optic cable. It's everywhere here. Here's this little thread, so you can see it on me. Everything here, even the supply depot, is covered with these little threads.
And this is exactly a drone on fiber optic. At first glance, it's ordinary FPV drone.
It can carry about 3 to 4 kilograms over 10 kilometers.
No radio frequencies, radio horizons, ground stations, wires or anything like that.
Fiber optics are used to transmit high-quality video. Just set up the antenna and fly. The drone doesn't emit radio signals and is invisible to the enemy. Thanks to stable communication, FPV drones can fly low and get in anywhere.
They're slower than regular ones. So why is it possibly harder to fly them? Because they're given more complex targets. That is, they need to slowly fly through some obstacle, get somewhere in order to hit the target precisely.
The drone itself carries a spool of fiber optic cable and explosives. It connects to a special station that provides secure communication. The wire is very thin and almost impossible to break unless you cut it with scissors. During the flight, the fiber optic cable naturally lays itself on the ground and over trees. These drones can stay airborne for half an hour and fly distances of up to 25 to 30 kilometers.
Generally, it's commonly believed that drones using fiber optics aren't very maneuverable. That may be true, they are slower, but you can still maneuver them.
Drones like these were first tested back at the end of 2022 But back then, there were few electronic warfare systems at the front, so these developments didn't get much attention. Meanwhile, the Russians took note of them last year. They tested them in the Kharkiv region, scaled up production, and are now actively disrupting our logistics and rear positions. Ukrainian defense forces only started using fiber optics a few months ago.
We're not just one step ahead of everyone in development, we're already 2 steps ahead. Everyone is noticing FISAT first. When we were just 1 step ahead, they couldn't outmatch us in certain areas.
It's difficult to defend against such drones. Both the Russians and we have started covering the main routes to the front with these kinds of net corridors. A drone can get tangled in them and there won't be a direct hit on the equipment. But this isn't a cure-all, because a well-trained pilot will find a gap, fly onto the road and destroy whatever he needs to.
You can fight back if you come up with something like inventing electronic warfare systems. We need something against optical systems and fight optics.
But we don't have much time. We need to come up with not only countermeasures, but also ramp up our own production of fiber-optic drones. Otherwise, the gray zone will expand to 50 kilometers between the lines of contact.
Fire!
Ole Kornienko, Zachar Komach, Fakty, ICTV, United News.
That's all from Tumen. I was with you, Darina Hutsakalu. Even more intense news from the front in our next broadcast. And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. See you!